Hi everyone, welcome along back to part 2 of how to compose a solo. This is really for everyone in my blues group, so I did a little poll and this came up as the top of the list of things that people wanted. So now in part 1 we covered the chords, so if you're not familiar with the chords, have a look back and have a look at that lesson. So today we're going to be seeing how you can solo over the top of something. Now I've picked this key of A flat because what we're going to try and do is to play over this track and compose using what we hear in our head. Now this is a difficult kind of one to do on the video because there's no interaction between you and me, you know, so I don't know what you're going to hear in your head, but I'll try and do it to give you some ideas. Alright, so let's turn that up a bit. Right, so first of all, our first chord is A flat. Going to A7. All right. Now the trick is here, we're in the key of A flat, so we could use our A major pentatonic scale, which really, you know, is this one. Shape number 1, shape 2. All right. Now, but what we're going to try and do with this lesson is, as I say, is use our ears, but try and use everything, all of your knowledge to try and put these things together. So sometimes it may be scales, sometimes it may be bits of chords, and the idea that you don't have to know all these things, okay? You don't have to know them, but if you hear something in your head, what you sing will be from one of those things, either from the scale or the arpeggio, you know, so it really does help to know these things. If you can just, you know, hear and then transfer what you hear in your head to your fingers, that's the ultimate goal, but we're trying to use these scale things to help us. All right, so here are the chords, as I say. Now if I play that, what do you hear in your head when you play that, if anything? Okay, so let's see, what do I hear? Sorry, I've got a terrible voice, by the way, so all right, now I've got to work that out, but okay, so now if you think of this, I'm using this chord here, which is an A major, A flat major chord. So the notes I'm singing, that is the notes from this chord. So you know, you don't have to do that. You could fish around for the notes, but you're right, what you're singing is going to be from that chord. So we're starting a bit before the beat. Oh, sorry. Okay, so that's the first one. Now the next chord, so it's kind of the same. That's the first one. It's not that note. It's that note. Can you see that's right in that A flat 7th chord? It's this note. So we could do the same thing, but change the last note. Okay. So trying to keep this melodic. Now if we move to the next chord, which is D flat, D diminished, can't sing that. But anyway, okay, so now let's see if we can do that. So is it this one? Yeah, maybe. No. Okay, this note, I've just gone out here because that note is an F, which is the third of D, but I'm trying to use my ear. So that worked, that note there. That's the third of D flat. Okay, now we've got D diminished. Choose that note there, which is a D, which is the top note, isn't it, of the chord. So let's see if we can put that together from the beginning. Da, 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 da. Okay. Okay, so here's our first phrases. Let me put on the backing track, let's see if that works. Okay. All right, so that's what we've got so far. Now, when we've got these licks, now what we want to try and do, since as we're composing a solo, is compose. So what I mean by that is, if I'm playing this lick, we want to alter this some way. So do you hear any way to alter that in your head? Well, you could. I think I did a little slide there. That's an easy way. Okay. What else could you hear? Da, 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 da. Da, da, da. So now this, you've got a kind of a tumbling. Da, 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 da. So instead of, you may hear something different, and it's just trying to get what's in your head out into your fingers. Okay, replaces. Okay, so that's the next phrase. What could we do with this? I could bend that note. Here we've got a little gap in the middle. We could fill it in. So, instead of, we could go, let's see. What I do sometimes, if I'm finishing on a note like that, I try and add a little something to that note, because you may not need it. So you can add a little trill. So what about this next one? So I used a bit of legato here. This is 6, pull off the 5, pull off the 4, slide back to 3, and then play that 3 twice. Now, because it's kind of bluesy, isn't it? That's 4, 3, 6, 4, 3. Okay, so see if I can remember that from the beginning. So we started with. That was for the diminished. All right, so so now we've got. Now we could do the same thing Because really, now we're playing that note. I keep that same lick really, but see, that was the root note there. Now I've gone to this one for the diminished. So you have that. All right, let's try that. Let me see if I can play that with the backing track. All right, so there we go. That's a couple of ideas. Now remember, you may hear something totally different, and that's great. You do want to hear something different than me because you're you. So see what you can hear in your head, and see if you can use these scale shapes to help you. All right, okay. So moving on from that little bit, now we've got this little turnaround, which is. Alright, so we've got A flat, F sharp, F, and then a quick chromatic thing, B, B flat minor to E9 to E flat 9, and then back again. Alright, that seems really complicated, doesn't it, to play over? What is it really? It's just really, it's a turnaround really, it's just going. You could think of it as just an A. Okay, now for this, I hear a kind of a standard turnaround lick. Now this is probably because you listen to a lot of music and you can hear these things after a while, and it's a lick that I know. So if you want to check out some licks, have a look at my daily blues licks. All right, now this lick I know, so let me show it to you. So this is a cool one for that. It's really coming from this scale that we did, mixing the two scales. You know, this position 1 of A major and position 2 of A major. So we have this. So this is 3 to 6. And then a hammer on from 4 to 5 on the G. 6 on the G. And that hammer on from 4 to 5 again. And then 6 on the D to 6 on the A. And then 4 slide back to 3 on the A. So far we've got this. Okay, 6 on the A again. 3 to 6 on the D. Then I'm bending this note here, 4 on the G, to this 6 here. So this is a lick, you know, it's a cliche lick, but it's a really good one from like the ending of a blues. So this is, I haven't really kind of heard that in my head. Well, I kind of have, but it's just a lick, you know, so. If you want to change that a bit, instead of like going to that note, as I say, if you finish on it, you could hammer on from 4 to 6. So. You need these licks really, you know, you can work out your own obviously, but if you have these standard ones, it's really cool because, you know, you can just plug them in, you know, or change them a little bit. So let's see if we can do that with the backing track, if I can remember that. diminished. Here's this lick. Okay. All right, so there we go. That's the beginning. That's like the first section, or the A section of to solo over that. Now, so we've been kind of playing what we hear in our head. Now, obviously, you could play this pentatonic scale, this A major pentatonic scale, position 2 or 1. If I just kind of stick with 4 notes. So you can use that scale to kind of noodle around, and I say that because a lot of people might say, well, what happens if you don't hear anything in your head? Well, in that case, you can use this scale to kind of, sorry, to noodle around with, but it'll always sound best if you can to use what you hear in your head, because you're always satisfied, I find, with what you do. If you play what's in your head, that is what's in your head. So you're not thinking, oh, I could have played some other notes here and there. But anyway, so I generally find if you play what's in your head, you're satisfied. Right, so there we go. So that's the first bit over that backing track. Now we're into section 2, which is where we have D major, D minor, D flat minor, A flat 7. This is B flat 7. All right. So now, again, what do you hear in your head? See if you can hear anything. I'll play that again. The question is, what do I hear in my head? Okay, here's the world's worst singing. Again, okay, so we can use these shapes to help us. Not that one, kind of that one, but bad singing. So that shape. So straight from that chord. So I just messed with it a bit there. So that's quite cool. Now what could this one be? There's that note there from the... Those two are the same though, aren't they? So you could keep that the same. So, with that little bit, with that kind of, we're messing with it now. Alright, so that was 6. Just 6 on the D, 6 on the G. 6 here on the B. Back to 6 on the D. 6. And then... It's good if you can keep the same kind of idea, because your ear wants to hear that. Okay. So we've gone to A flat here. That note is an A flat. Da, 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 da. That's what you're hearing. Da, da. So it's straight. Can you see from that shape? No scales, just the shapes. So slid into the note. Okay, what could we do with that to mess with it a bit? Does that bend work? Maybe. You've got to try these things, see if they work. I'm not too sure if I like that. Well, what about... I think I like that one better for the D flat minor. So does the hammer on work? I don't know. I think the slide works. Okay. So okay. All right, so let me go back and I shall play, hopefully, what we've got so far, see if I can remember all that. Here's that lick. Right, now what did I do there? Okay, so there we go. Now here, I'm just going up this A flat major scale, but I'm using these little things called sixes. So that is 3, sorry, my fault, 4 on the high E, 5 on the, that's a major shape, 5 on the G, 6 on the G, 6 on the high E. So you could carry on that. What I did there though, I did a little note. So I'm picking these two together, the G and the E, and I use my finger to hammer on to that 7th fret. Okay. Okay, now that takes us up to the B flat 7. So let me just play that little bit for you again from the D flat. Okay, back to that a bit again. Now we've got B flat 7. What could we do with that? Well, I'm just really that, I don't know if I heard that in my head or I was just thinking of a lick really. So there, I'm bending this note to that one in the scale. And then that's 8 on the D. And again, back to 6 on the D, back to 8. And then that note again, this is a curl where you play that note and you kill it. Okay, so let's see if I can remember that. All right, I think that was what I played. And then we have to finish it off, the whole cycle, this E flat. You can think of that E flat, so I'm just going to bend to that E flat note because I've run out of ideas. So I'm bending this 7 to that note. That's what I'm doing. Bit of vibrato there. Okay, let me see if I can remember that. Something like that, wasn't it? Okay, so there we go. So we've gone through around the whole cycle now of soloing over that, using these kind of ideas, really, of just using chord shapes, and you know, you can use scales in there if you want. So let me try and play that for you all the way through. So if it's slightly different, it's hard to remember all this. I can remember this one. Okay, so I think in this bit I went a bit wrong. I think I couldn't remember what I played. Something like that, wasn't it? Yeah, that was it. All right, so there we go. Hope that gives you some ideas. What I'll leave you with is, when you're trying to solo over something, whatever it might be, try not and use what your fingers are telling you to use, which is, you know, a scale, and that sounds all right, but try and use your head, and it might take a while to hear what you hear in your head and transfer it to your fingers, but if you can do that, it'll always sound really, really good, you know. So hope that helps. Do let me know if you've got any questions, and I'll try and help you. So write them in the comments below if you're in the blues group, or if you're on the YouTube channel, you can also write them below. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. Have a little jam with that, you know, or just use your pentatonic scale over the top. It'll sound good. So have some fun with that. I'll see you soon.